All right. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. It is October 26, 2025. This is the 324th edition of Speaking of Zane. I'll tell you, it has been a minute since we had a Speaking of Zane. In fact, the last one we had was on September 14th. September 14th. That is by far and away the longest stretch that we've ever gone without Speaking of Zane, where we talk about Zane, where we make sure to say his name to keep his memory alive. And we do a lot of other things along the way. But just a back-to-back-to-back combination of travel has kept me from my regular routine. So it's glad to be back and talk about Zane and other things that are going on around here at the fabulous McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum. Well, let's see, where do we start? Where have I been since the last time we talked? September 14th, I had to look back at my notes to see where we left off. What was the last thing we talked about? What the heck was going on? At the time, Lori was looking after our little baby granddaughter, Nyla, and she's still doing that. In fact, she was home for a little bit. She actually got a little bit of a break. She's been at this now for, gosh, Lori, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks, spending much of the week at our daughter Hannah's house, looking after Nyla and Everett, and then she'll come home on the weekend. But she did take a week off. My daughter Charlotte, who was a world traveler, happened to be on business in Hawaii, and she invited Lori to come and spend the week with her, and she did that and had a really good time. I'm glad she got to go to someplace tropical and relax and recover and recuperate. But she's back now. She got back and she got COVID again. When she got back from London in July, she got COVID. And then when she gets back from Hawaii, she gets COVID. So she spent the whole week home here, but I wasn't here. I was in New York City. So I finally got to see her, I don't know, Thursday, Friday. And then she was home for the weekend. And our little granddaughter, Carson, did a sleepover. And she was here for Saturday night and Sunday. But since we were last together on September 14th, I've been in London. I was supposed to only spend a week there, but just circumstances with one of my colleagues, she couldn't make it to relieve me, so I stayed an extra week. So I spent 2 full weeks in London, which was nice. It's a lot nicer. We have an apartment there, so it's really comfortable there and a lot better than a hotel. And then when I got back, I was only home for a little bit, and then I spent a week in St. Louis, had our current cohort of Academy Associates in town for the first time. They're from all over the country. It's about 24 of them, from Seattle to Miami and Southern California to New York and everything in between. And we had them to St. Louis for the very first time. We got to meet each other for the first time and see all the stuff and do all the things. And so I spent a week there and then came home for a weekend and then went to New York City. Actually, I didn't even stay home all weekend. I was home for Saturday, I think, Friday night, Saturday, and then headed up to New York and had a great time. I always love going to New York and visiting, and we have a fabulous office there. And got a chance to be part of an event there in our office, talking about early in career programs and all the kind of stuff, and had a good time. And then we have a pretty high concentration of folks that have come through the cohort I lead, the academy that I lead, maybe a dozen of them there, and I took them all out for dinner and everything. And so it was a good visit. Then I got home Wednesday evening or something like that. But so I've been home for a few days now, and I'll be home all week, all this week and most of next week. And then I'm headed to Washington, D.C., where I've asked to host and speak to a group of military veterans that work for a company called Cisco Systems that I used to work for. And so I'm going to be doing that in our DC office right downtown, November the 7th. And then I will come home and then go back to St. Louis for a couple of days the next week for some Veterans Day activities that we've got going there in where our headquarters is in St. Louis. So stay tuned for that. But and then I'm home for, after that, I think I'm home for 2.5 full weeks actually before heading back to London after Thanksgiving. And my plan right now is to spend the entire month of December to include Christmas in London. Lori will be joining me, of course, somewhere along the way. So it'll be our third December in London. It'll be our second Christmas in London over the last few years. So I'm looking forward to that. So we'll see how the Speaking of Zane pans out over the coming months. But so I've been catching up on things here at the house. Boy, it's always good to get home. You guys that have traveled throughout your career know what it's like. It's great to travel. It's great to be adventurous and everything, but it's always good to come home, drink your own coffee, sleep in your own bed, catch up on your chores, which I've done a good bit of over the last week or so, and even took some time yesterday to take in some football. There were some good games on yesterday. I don't know if anybody's following football, especially the SEC. Texas pulled one out for sure against Mississippi State right at the end, and then Texas A&M did a fantastic job against LSU at LSU and won that game pretty handily after not the best first half, but it was a good day of football. Enjoyed college football. Texas A&M is 8-0. They're looking pretty doggone good. They're at, I think they're at number 3, ranked number 3 right now. So we'll see how things fare in the coming weeks. But always enjoy that. Let's see what else is going on here. Oh, you guys know I've posted this on my social, but I'm planning to do that 50-mile march next. When is it, Lori? August. So we'll do the Running to Honor 5K in Michigan in July, and then I'll do the 50-mile march in Omaha in August. So I've been walking still. I've been part of a challenge this month. A friend of mine lost his daughter a couple of years ago, precious little girl, a friend of mine at work. And anyway, he was having a fundraiser challenge, and I'm all about these challenges. And it was to walk 100 miles in the month of October. And 5 days ago, I think I hit the 100-mile mark. So I'm shooting for 150. I got what, 5-6 more days. So that's the deal there. But anyway, it'll be nothing compared to the 50-mile march, which I'm excited about. I'm already at half of my fundraising goal. My fundraising goal is $2,500 for this organization, 50-mile march, and I'm happy to say I'm at almost exactly halfway, and I've still got all these months to go to raise the rest. So ask me how you can get involved in that. I'll let you know. But 50-mile march should be fun. I got to get a lot of tips though. I need to know what kind of shoes, what kind of socks, what to bring in my pack. All those things I still have to know. And I've got a good buddy, Frank Williams, there in Beaver Lake, who is the one that inspired me to do this. And so I'll get with him and make sure that I know all the tricks and everything to make sure that I can get across the finish line. But it should be fun. Hat of the week, hat of the week, hat of the week. Hat of the week always has something to do with what the heck is going on around here. And I mentioned that Lori was in Hawaii and took some fantastic photos. Of course, that's one of the most photogenic places on earth. And she brought me this hat, Pearl Harbor. I haven't been yet. It's on my bucket list. I know it's near and dear to Ken's heart. Ken's father was a Pearl Harbor attack survivor, and Ken has shared that story with us a couple times, and I hope he'll do it again this December. But Lori got a chance to visit, and I know it was very somber and surreal. But I hope to make it there sometime and visit and pay my respects. But I appreciate Lori bringing me a ball cap. She knows I'm a hat wearer from the first day that we met. What, Lori? 42, 43 years ago. And I still have a full, beautiful, glorious head of hair, even wearing these ball caps all these years. So I'm grateful for that. Brenda Lusk is in there. Let me do a quick roll call here. I neglected that. Ken is in there. Daryl is in there. Carl is in there. Lori is in there. And Brenda Lusk is in there. And Brenda, we will look forward perhaps to meeting you in person next July when we're in Michigan for the Running to Honor 5K. That'll be fun. It'll be the first time we've done it in person, and we're thrilled about that. Hope to get up there and spend a few days with some of Zane's battle buddies. Lori's working on making this somewhat of a reunion, so we'll have a little ways to work all that out. Well, let's see. How about some this week in military history? We had, it's been a long time since we were together last. There's been a lot of things, and I know I'm going to miss most of them, but I did pick out a few of those dates that have occurred since we were last together. One of them, September the 16th of 1981, this young man showed up at Lackland Air Force Base and picked them up and put them down, and pick them up and put them down, and pick them up and put them down. And so that's when I reported to basic training 44 years ago, and been the foundation of everything I've done professionally since. I'm one of those guys that never went to college, but have done very well in the tech space, and it was all attributed to my technology foundation in the military and a lot of freaking hard work. I'll tell you that. And I have really worked hard over the years, and but I owe a lot to the Air Force for sure, and I'm grateful for those years that I spent. And then just a couple of days later, September 18th, was the Air Force birthday. The Air Force was founded on September 18th, 1947. Used to be the youngest service, but now we have the Space Force, of course. But yeah, the Air Force birthday happened since we were last together. And then on September 19th was POW MIA Recognition Day. Always keep our POWs and MIAs in mind there. Then, of course, October 13th, we had the Navy's birthday. The Navy was born on October 13th, 1775, even before we were a nation. There's my cousin Toby. Hey, Toby. And then let's see, in 1983, we had a couple of occurrences here that were recent. October 83, I happened to be at Keesler Air Force Base. I was being transferred from Offutt Air Force Base, my first duty station, to RAF Mildenhall, my second duty station. And in between, they sent me to a school at Keesler Air Force Base, the AFSATCOM course. Most of you, my Air Force buddies here, have been to that, but they sent me there to that school in between duty stations. And while I was there, we had the rescue in Grenada. If you remember that, the medical college students there had to be rescued. And then, of course, I think it was October 20th, we had the Marine barracks in Beirut was bombed, and we lost a couple hundred folks there, mostly Marines, some sailors, and a couple of soldiers. And then on September 28th, we recognized Gold Star Mothers and Families Day. It started out Gold Star Mother Day, I think, but they've added the family Gold Star Mothers and Family Day, acknowledging especially those Gold Star mothers. Can you imagine being a mother that loses a son or daughter in service to the country? And then on September 20th of 2009, our friend Kelly Kowal, the founder of My Warrior's Place, who you've heard us talk about over and over again, her son, Specialist Corey Kowal, was killed in Afghanistan 2009, and Kelly has certainly done her part to keep his memory alive and help a lot of others along the way. We should all be so fruitful in the way that we do that. As Kelly, she has been fantastic there. I'm proud to call her a friend, Lori and I both. Well, let's see. We've had some, I'm going to do my best here because I've probably not done the best at keeping track, but I did go back to Facebook and to the Speaking of Zane Facebook group and tried to gather up all of the veteran cemetery visits and the Thank of Vets encounters. So I'm going to do my best to chronicle those here. And I know I'm missing a bunch of them, but on the cemetery front, it's been 6 weeks since we were together. Well, let's see, Roy's got, I'm going to add some here for Roy, or for Carl. Crown Hill. Okay, yeah, Crown Hill. I know, and he also had a service here in the Atlanta metro, if I recall, or in North Georgia. I can't remember his connection to Georgia. Talking about Butch Hall. But of course, I wasn't here. I was somewhere in the world. But so I'm going to put Roy down for Crown Hill, as well as Carl. Thanks for throwing that in there, Carl. So if I add those two, let me tell you what I've got. I've got Daryl. Daryl made another visit today to Jefferson Barracks. Daryl is probably the Daryl probably visits Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery more than anybody, for good reason. And I've got Daryl down, including today's visit, for 7. My dad and my sis down in Fitzgerald. I've got Roy at Crown Hill, Carl and Peggy, Crown Hill. Also, Carl, I think this is the first time I'm capturing your visit to the cemetery in Appomattox. It's a unique one there. They're Confederate soldiers there. I visited a few years ago when I took my daughter to dropped her off at the FBI Academy. I did a little battlefield tour and got a chance to visit. So if I add all those up, that's a total of 22 visits since we were last together. And we're at 1,604 different visits, unique visits that as a relatively small group have made. They are sacred places for sure. And I appreciate you guys when you visit, capturing those and letting us know. I think I did get yours, Lori, last time. Give me since September 14th, Lori. Has there been another for you? I'll put that in here as well. I don't remember. I know that you and I went on the same weekend or a couple of days apart. Oh, from Hawaii. Oh, yeah. Okay, I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot about that. All right, so that adds another. So 1,605. Forgot about that. Yep. And then for the Thank a Vets, yeah, I did get your count for Hawaii, Lori, on that. So if we go to the Thank a Vet challenge, which is where we encounter or interact with veterans or military members or first responders, and we just have a conversation or pass on a thank you or a hearty handshake or whatever the case may be. But I know since we last were together, I did go back and mine Facebook, and Carl's coming in with some others here, which I'll add right now. We'll just say 6 there for Carl. Thank you for that. 6 for Carl. And then 6 for Ken. I love this on the fly here. Oh, good. That's great, Ken. That'll be cool. You guys can sit around the campfire and tell stories. All right, so let's see. Daryl, I had you for a Marine interaction, an Air Force, and an Army since we last talked. And then Lori had the 13 in Hawaii. She had a Cherokee County Sheriff, and then she had an Army vet. And then Ken's got his 6. Carl's got his 6. And then I totaled up. I know I'm short on this, but I couldn't think of them all. But since we were last together, most of these occurred in the last 2 weeks. I had 26 interactions, many of them with fellow veterans at work and in my travels. So if I add all of those up, we are at about, well, let's see. Let me just do a quick little calculation here. So for the record, make sure I get the count accurate, because we've done a pretty good job over the last few weeks of interacting with fellow veterans and telling them that we appreciate them, or at least showing some sort of interest. If I add those up, we have, let's see. Okay, Sharon's jumping in there with some, so I'll add that. So I'm going to say, since we were last together, that puts us at 57. I know it's more, but I just can't place them all. So 57 is a good count for the last some number of weeks. And if I add those additional, let's see, where did we come in at? Stick with me here while I do a quick little arithmetic. I have to look at last week's and compare it. Make sure I get the right count here, because that's important. We were at 32. So plus 57. Okay, that puts us at 3739. 3739. So we got a little bit of work to do between now and the end of the year if we're going to hit a new threshold here. It'd be nice to hit 4,000, wouldn't it? I'll commit to doing my part. We need just short of 300. We need just short of 300 over the next, what do we got? 8 or 10 weeks. So we should be good. But appreciate you guys playing along with us there as we make sure to acknowledge our fellow veterans. They don't get enough of it, for sure, for sure. Fewer than 1% of the population has ever served, so I wouldn't expect everybody to really have the same skin in the game, so to speak. But appreciate you guys playing along with us. The only organization, we always talk about organizations that we're either all part of, contribute to, support, are aware of, admire, like My Warrior's Place, like Reach Across America, like Running to Honor, all of those orgs that do great work for veterans and service members and their families. And anytime there's something new to report, I like to call it out. I keep kind of a running list, but I mentioned Running to Honor. Before you know it, we'll be registering for that for July. And then the 50-mile march is the newest one that I've mentioned to you guys. And then Carl calls out Reach Across America. Reach Across America, if you wanted to sponsor a wreath, you can do that. Go to reachacrossamerica.org. I've got, and it's on my list to do this week, I've got 2 websites dedicated on Reach Across America. One's for Speaking of Zane. So I'm going to put together, or I will send out the link for the Speaking of, excuse me, I had a roast today. I cooked a Sunday roast, as I often do, and it's coming back to bite me a little bit. But I will publish the Speaking of Zane Reach Across America page there, and I have one for work as well. So Carl, thanks for, or Lori and Carl both, thanks for that reminder. This December 13th is the National Reach Across America Day. So in all likelihood, there is a cemetery close to you that participates in Reach Across America. And that's going to be on Saturday, December the 13th this year. Their theme is called Keep Moving Forward. Keep moving forward. Pretty good advice under any circumstance. Well, let's see. Unfortunately, we do have another segment that we talk about called Heroes Lost or Wounded this week. And, when things happen either in conflicts around the globe or in training, those that we lose in those circumstances deserve to be acknowledged and remembered for sure. And if you remember on, it's been maybe a week or two ago, we lost a 160th Night Stalkers helicopter, and we lost 4 crew members there. Chief Warrant Officer Andrew Cully from Sparta, Missouri. Chief Warrant Officer Andrew Krause from Sanibel, Florida. Sergeant Donovan Scott is from Tacoma, Washington. And Sergeant Jadalyn Good from Mount Vernon, Washington. So it's tragedy. I know, obviously, in combat, these losses are expected, tragic. But when you train like you fight, you also are susceptible to accidents, and that's what happened in the case of this helicopter crash. Unfortunate, very unfortunate. And I just got a note from a buddy of mine talking about 2 separate, unrelated incidents that occurred today off the USS Nimitz. And we lost, or a Navy Seahawk helicopter went down. And fortunately, all of the crew were rescued. And then minutes later, off the Nimitz, the same aircraft carrier, an F-18 Hornet went down, and fortunately, both crew members were rescued. So, terrible day, 2 crashes on the same day from the same aircraft carrier in the South China Sea, but all 5 crew members rescued. So that's good news. Lori's telling Ken that Hawaii was amazing. Pearl Harbor, yeah, very emotional. I can't wait to visit sometime, for sure. I need to, some of these visits you make, they kind of happen to you along the way, the kind of circumstances or work related, or you happen to be in the area. And I keep thinking, somehow Hawaii is going to happen, but it hasn't yet. So I'm going to have to be purposeful about it, I think, and make a trip to Hawaii on purpose and spend some time there like Lori did and see all the history there. Just a fascinating place. And wouldn't it be great to go with Ken? That's for sure. Are you going? You're going this year, Ken, in December? It would be the 84th. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 1941. Yeah, you're right. Well, Ken, we'll look forward to your chronicling that visit for us and sharing with us again about the events of that day in your dad's own words, if you would do that for us. And of course, I'll be in London, but I will stay up late for Speaking of Zane, just to hear you chronicle the day's events as recorded by your father. So we'll see how that works out. Maybe it won't happen on the 7th, but somewhere in that window. But I appreciate that. Okay, well, that is it. I'm sure there's much, much more that has happened since we were together on September 14th, but that is all I've got this evening. I'm looking forward to being home all week, and then much of the next before I hit the road again and get a lot of things done here at the house, and look forward to joining everybody again next Sunday night, 2 Sundays in a row, for another edition of Speaking of Zane. Keep those veteran interactions going, keep those cemetery visits going, and just remember that don't take for granted the service that people make, and sometimes the service that people give to this country is 100%. It's everything up to and including their lives, and even those that are serving, they know that's a possibility, and it's worth acknowledging. Training for combat, in combat, and even after, as we've seen and experienced firsthand. So, all right, everybody, love everybody. Have a great week, make it count, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody again next Sunday night for another edition of Speaking of Zane. See you then.